It's 12 o'clock here on Showbiz Now, the last bulletin, and this is the moment where we get to sit down for 30 good minutes. We have a conversation. We open the phone lines for you to also join us and let us know what you think about the issues that we talk about. Today, we want to take a different system and put it here, and then we'll have a conversation about that system. The system is the Ghana music industry, and the system is what we're talking about, the fact that music in Ghana actually began from some point and all the way to this very moment where we have new generation taking over. So today we're talking about the evolution of Ghana music. But to help us make it even easier a conversation, we have a documentary put together for you to actually have a look at. When we come back, myself and Sadiq Abdullahi Abu will sit down and then we'll have a conversation on that. We'll be ready for your comments on that documentary and the discussion as well. My name is KMJ, this is Showbiz Now, and you're welcome to the show. Here is the documentary for the evolution of Ghana music.
There are many styles of traditional and modern music of Ghana. Due to Ghana's cosmopolitan geographic position on the African continent, the best known modern genre originating in Ghana is highlife. For many years, highlife was the preferred music genre until the introduction of hip-life and many others. The traditional musicology of Ghana may be divided geographically between the open and the vast savanna country of northern Ghana, inhabited by the Ghanaians of Gar and Mande-speaking groups, and the fertile forested southern coastal areas inhabited by Ghanaians speaking Kwa languages such as Akan. During the Gold Coast era lexi, the Gold Coast was a hotbed of musical syncretism. Rhythms, especially from Gombe and Ashiko, guitar lines such as mainline and Osibisa-ba, European brass bands and sea shanties were all combined into a melting pot that became high life. Ghana became an independent nation in 1957. The music of Ghana often reflects a Caribbean influence, yet it still remains a flavor all its own. While Pan-Ghanaian music had been developed for some time, the middle of the 20th century saw the development of distinctly Ghanaian pop music. Highlife incorporated elements of swing, jazz, rock, ska, and soukous. To a much lesser extent, Ghanaian musicians found success in the United States and, briefly, the United Kingdom with the surprise success of Osibisa's Afro-rock in the 1970s.
Way down among Brazilians, coffee beans grow by the billions, so they've got to find those extra cups to fill. They've got an awful lot of coffee in Brazil.
In the 1930s, Sam's Trio, led by Jacob Sam, was the most influential of the highlife guitar band. The Ayamponsa, 3 versions of which were recorded in 1928 for Zonophone, was a major hit that remains a popular staple of numerous highlife bands. The next major guitar band leader was E.K. Nyame, who sang in Twi. Nyame also added a double bass and more elements of the Western Hemisphere, including jazz and Cuban music on the recommendation of his producer and manager, E. Newman Ajuri. In the 1960s, dance highlife was more popular than guitar band. Highlife, most of the guitar bands began using the electric guitar until a roots revival in the mid-1970s. Dancehall life evolved during World War II when American jazz and swing became popular with the arrival of servicemen from the United States and the United Kingdom. After independence in 1957, the socialist government began encouraging folk music, but highlife remained popular and influences from the Trinidadian music. E.T. Mensah was the most influential musician of this period, and his band, the Temples, frequently accompanied the president. The original band leader of the Temples was Guy Warren, who was responsible for introducing Caribbean music to Ghana and later was known for a series of innovative fusions of African rhythms and American jazz. Ebotela, Kim Bruce, Jerry Hansen, and Stan Planche also led influential dance bands during the 1950s and the 1960s. By the 1970s, however, pop music from Europe and the US dominated the Ghanaian scene until a mid-1970s roots revival. By the beginning of the 1970s, traditionally styled highlife had been taken over by electric guitar bands and pop dance music. Since 1966 and the fall of President Kwame Nkrumah, many Ghanaian musicians moved abroad, settling in the US and the UK. Highlife bands arose like Sammy Kofi's, also known as Kofi Sammy. In the 1971, the Soul to Soul Music Festival was held in Accra. Several legendary American musicians played, including Wilson Pickett, Ike and Tina Turner, and Carlos Santana. With the exception of Mexican-American Santana, these American superstars were all black, and their presence in Accra was seen as legitimizing Ghanaian music. Though the concert is now mostly remembered for its role as a catalyst in the subsequent Ghanaian roots revival, it also led to the increased popularity for American rock and soul. Inspired by the American musicians, new guitar bands arose in Ghana, including Nana Mpadu and the African Brothers, the City Boys and others. Musicians such as CK Man, Daniel Amponsa and Eddie Donko incorporated new elements, especially from Jamaican reggae. A group called Wolomere also arose in the 1970s, leading a cultural revival to encourage Ghanaian youths to support their own countrymen's music. By the 1980s, the UK was experiencing a boom in African music as Ghanaian and others moved there in large numbers. The group Highlife International was probably the most influential band of the period, and others included John Kay, Dade Krama, Orchestra, Jazeera, and Ben Brackle. In the middle of the decade, however, British immigration laws changed and the focus of Ghanaian immigration moved to Germany. The Ghanaian German community created a form of highlife called Boga Highlife. The most influential early Boga Highlife musician was George Dako, whose Ako Tibrofo coined the term and is considered the beginning of the genre. Boga Highlife was extremely popular in Ghana, especially after computer-generated dance beats were added to the mix. The same period saw a Ghanaian community appear in Toronto and elsewhere in Canada. Pat Thomas is probably the most famous Ghanaian Canadian musician. Other emigres include the Ghanaian American Obo Adi, the Ghanaian Swiss Andy Vance, and the Ghanaian Dutch Kumbisela. By the late 1990s, a new generation of artists discovered the so-called hip life. The originator of this style is Reggie Rockstone, a Ghanaian musician who doubled with hip-hop in the United States before finding his unique style. Hip-life basically was hip-hop in the Ghanaian local dialect backed by elements of the traditional highlife. His music producer Hammer of the last two unveiled artists including Obrafour, Tiny, Kwakese, Okra, Edem, and many who further popularized the hip-life music genre respectively. Hip-life has since proliferated and spawned stars such as Reggie Rockstone, Ochiame Kwame, Ochiame Kofi formerly in a group called Achiame, Root Eye, Aketechie, Nananom, Dead Body, Sasquad, and later became TH4 Hwages. Extol, Nana King, VIP, now VVIP, Mensa, Samini, Brothers, Lord Kenya, Bookback, Abrowanana, Tic Tac, 4x4, Wuta, Prior, Asem, R2Bs, Money First, Yapuno, Stonewall, Shatawale, EL, Sarkodie, Pisakede, and many more.
Vibes on, vibes on. Vibes on, vibes on.
The new generation of Ghana music is finally here, and these artists are displaying diversity in their respective worlds. They have given birth to alternative music which has made them unique and refreshing. If you are looking for the new era of Ghana music, look for names like Medical, B for Bona, Kwesi Arthur, Ayat, Walasi, Akan, Obibini, Amrado, Kwesi Slay, Kojo Q, Shaker, Papi Kojo, Lemem Gang, Kofi Mole, Kim Promise, Kitty, Kwame Eugene, Sina Soul, Adoma, Frida Rhymes, Sefa, Toy Boy, Calvin Boy, Fancy Goddam, Macasio, Soribia, Joey B, Strongman, Kofi Kinata, T-Flow, Mist V, AI, Wendy Shea, Eddie K, Herman Sway, and few others who have taken the music to a new level, and the future looks bright already. These artists have their own agendas and they are executing them tactically. It's time for the younger laws to take over, and I think the signs are very clear now. My prayer is to see them cracking the world open and artists elsewhere looking up to them and admiring their fresh talents from afar.
Won't forgive me, I like I'm go. Your kapabi, I'm standing, Brian go. I want to do you something, no longer. Look how you come my way, you make it feel some way. My heart is on delay, I don't know what to say. Hey, look how you come my way, you make it feel some way. My heart is on delay, I don't know what to say. Follow me, forever, yeah baby, yeah I'm go. Follow me, forever, yeah baby, yeah I'm go. Follow me, forever, yeah baby.
Obviously, something that will bring you loads and loads of memories, taken into back in time what exactly happened with the evolution of Ghana music. And that's the conversation we're having this afternoon here on Showbiz Now. We're going to sit down in a bit. We'll take your thoughts as well and let us know about some of the things that you've done. But even before that, now let's get into some memories. In the era of Bogaha life, that Lumba was the magic man. He was the man who everyone wanted to see at the time. Now we're getting to the new generation as well and see which of these people is exactly making us feel back in time that we had indeed something that we could be proud of. Ghanaian music. We'll do something from Kim Promise as well. So here is that Lumba with Boga High Life. When we come back, we'll do Kim Promise for you on back to back, and then we'll have a conversation on that. Still with me.
Remember,
Me say I do me a shrum, yeah. You know, they say I be better past anybody. They say, what's your and your boy, no. See, so what the hustle, know they make chance pass me by. So make it do your best and use your sense. I saw the stress since I put God first. Charlie, it no be race, it no be test. And Jack guides, so no one can test. So make it tell them. So we do come, no, they fear them. Baba got it from my side, so no shake.
Yeah, when you're media, on Tonko na Hondo, on any CCTV, they be an anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be your guide. Yeah, yeah, when you're media, on Tonko na Hondo, on any CCTV, they be an anyone me so. Even if I walk through the valley of death, I know the fear. Every day be your guide, your guide.
So make you no cry, no cry. Say you go be, make you still try. You no draw money, you want gosh, no good way. I pity make you no cry, still try. Say you go be, make you no cry. You no draw money, you want me and die. I don't mean that's something.
So King Promise seems to have promised that Lumba that indeed he's going to hold the fort when the time comes for him to actually part ways with music. But then we've been talking about this. The guys have been doing what they can to make sure that they push Ghana music to where it's supposed to get to. Now that's the conversation we're having this afternoon here in the studio on Showbiz Now. You can send in your comments on our social media pages, Joy Prime Official on Facebook, and let us know what you think. We'll open the phone lines later on for you to also join us. So this afternoon, I have the CEO of 3 Music, and he's also the CEO of Boomplay Music, and he's in here with me. So let's get into the conversation in a bit. Sadiq is here, and there you go, there you go, there you go.
Nice.
Sadiq is the man to look for when you talk about 3 Music. The music awards that seem to be doing so well for the very first time that they began, but indeed a lot of people were worried when the payment of the MC didn't happen. Have you paid yet?
Yes, we have.
You paid Jocelyn Duma now?
We have.
I just want to be sure. She tweeted that you guys have paid her already.
Yeah, I mean, we have. I mean, we've had for some time now, but I mean, it's not something we've wanted to discuss or divulge. I mean, it's our responsibility to pay her. And once it delayed, and I mean, she came out and we've paid. We didn't think it was necessary to out it or, I mean, let people know. But I mean, it's been sorted.
But it didn't affect your brand in any way?
Oh no, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, obviously for these things, I think that a lot of the people we work with, the market understands the space we work with. I mean, a space of delayed payments where we engage suppliers consistently on the delays. So, I mean, pretty much we don't think it has.
Okay.
We don't think it's a matter of payment. I mean, and payment, I don't think we've done anything criminal. I'm glad that there wasn't a conversation about our processes in terms of our branding, our positioning, or execution. This is some of the post-events things that should come out relating to the execution of it. So I mean, we don't think it has affected it.
I see. So for someone who's been awarding people who have been doing well in the music industry, we're talking about the evolution of Ghana music. I'm sure you've had people you've spoken to, they've told you about the journey so far and where we seem to be getting to. Now let's look back in the time. What were some of the things that you saw that you're seeing now, and it tells you that indeed those who began did well, and that's why we're seeing the things that we're seeing right now?
Well, I think it's a vibrancy and creating what's called a Ghanaian sound. Over the years until now, we've managed to create what we call a Ghanaian sound via High Life, and obviously High Life also took into consideration the indigenous music formats that was pervasive at the time, and then added other things to it, other influences to it, and then we created High Life. And with time, I mean, we managed to create what is called a Ghanaian sound, which is an infusion of our local sounds with all the things all the influences that the musicians of the time managed to add to. And so that is what they've done. Now, I think that what's encouraging or refreshing is the fact that most of the young people now are going back into time and taking some of these influences or what we call the Ghanaian sound and repackaging it and giving it to us.
Now, the one thing I would want us to look at also is the struggle. Now, the struggle before and what is happening now. You think that it has really put these guys to where they've always wanted to be? Because a lot of the old guys talked about the fact that they didn't have it the way these new ones actually have in terms of social media that will even help you promote your stuff and all of that. So has the struggle actually contributed to what we're seeing right now?
Well, I think that, I mean, a lot of things has impacted music. Technology is one of them. Obviously, in those times as well, I mean, Uncle Ken Kennedy would say, in them days. In them days, I mean, they also had their own ways. They also had their own ways of, I mean, distributing music and getting music out there. They had their own way of commercializing their music. They had their own way of thriving. That is what it's now. It's different. So obviously, yes, technology has changed it, but essentially, in terms of the struggle, in terms of going through the processes of creating music, it's about the same. Maybe technology has impacted it a lot. I mean, even from the creation of the sound. In those days as well, it was a full band that would go into the studio and create the sound. But now more than ever, with just a producer who has all the software technology can give, you can create the sound, you know, unlike before. And even in terms of distributing it or promoting yourself, social media and technology has impacted it. But essentially, the struggle and the processes of creating the music is essentially the same.
Let's look at content. A lot of people say that the new ones are always in a hurry to put lyrics together and push it out there, and that's why the music industry does not seem to be growing from where they left it. I mean, most of them have criticized the way the new ones are always in a hurry to put music out there. And the unfortunate thing is that people are accepting some of these things that they've been doing. So the balance is not really something that you want to maybe side with the old folks.
Did they specify, did they specify a particular song? So I think it's a generational thing. In those days as well, there was what they had their own. That's why I'm asking that if they specified it, did they specify a particular song to say, well, the people are in a rush to create a music, and so this particular song does not fit it. Almost all the
likes of Patapa and all have
all the songs, almost all the songs that we have today, we had some in those days as well.
That's what it is?
Yes, we had some of the songs in those days as well. In the past as well, there were songs by older musicians that created a lot of controversy and people were concerned about it for society. So it's not something that's just happening. There's nothing that is new under the sun. Everything that you're seeing today used to happen before. The obvious difference is the fact that technology has changed it. And don't take it from anybody when they say the music industry is not growing. If the music industry is not growing, how come now more than ever we have a lot more new exciting acts unlike before? So obviously you will grow. The challenges of the music industry will be there. From the time, they also had their own challenges. Now, we also have our own challenges. In their days as well, today, the young artists will say, oh, but you two in your days, you used to sell cassette and used to sell CDs. In my days, I'm not able to sell cassette and CDs. You have an edge. But today, the edge is that you can distribute via digital. I'm hearing that somebody's father was paid $9,300 of digital sales from a music alone.
Today, yesterday, in present time,
in present time. What does that tell you? It tells you that, of course, whereas the sales of cassettes or CDs had gone down, something had emerged which is giving the new acts today something to be proud of or something to enable them to thrive, which essentially means that the music industry is growing. You understand? So that don't take it from anybody to say that when they say it's not growing, what exactly are they saying? You need to ask a lot of questions. What do you mean by it's not growing? Because your sound of your time is totally different from the sound of our time. So you can't expect that the young people of now who have been influenced differently by their generation or by a situation to give us the kind of sound they will give us. Obviously, what they will try to do is pick a bit of your sound and then modify it or add all these modern influences to it. So, I mean, you will realize that often it's a generational argument. The older people are stuck in their ways. They understand the music of the era and would think that the young people should give us the music of the era. The younger people as well are stuck in their generation and are giving us the music of the era. When they move on, the same younger people again will look back and say, well, the same younger people today in future may look back and say, well, the younger people of that time are not giving us a. So it's a generational argument.
So you think the debate or the argument by the old folks that, well, we didn't have what they are having technology, you think that they had also a way of selling this and so they don't have to even complain?
No, they had. I mean, I know some of the old people, for instance, that were proud about the fact that their music managed to create a lot more employment. Whereas when they go into the studio, for instance, it wasn't him and the producer or a sound engineer recording. It was a whole band. It was a lot more people that could play. Somebody could play the drums, somebody could play something else. What has changed is technology. Now you don't necessarily need to have, unless of course you want to go the extra mile, to have the drummer in the studio, to have the somebody play another instrument in the studio.
Okay, so give me a minute to do this. Now let's try as much as possible to pick some thoughts from our viewers as well. So you can give us a call. The phone lines are on your screen right now. Let us know what you think about the conversation we're having over here. Sadiq Abu Abdullah is with me here in the studio. We're having a conversation on the evolution of Ghana music, and you can give us a call and let us know what you think. 0302211698 and let us know what you think here on the show. This is Showbiz Now here on Joy Prime, and Eben is on the line. Eben, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Talk to me, bro. Real quick.
Yeah, okay, so about the evolution of Ghanaian music, I want to say, like, looking at what they were talking about way back, it's because they were writing about things around them. And now our generation are also singing and writing songs about things that they see, things they are exposed to. So I would say Ghanaian music has actually moved from how it was way back, and it is going forward. Like, we are really going forward, looking at Kwame, Eugene, Kiddy, and the new talent. I think they are doing good. Looking at what they have around them, and it's based on that they write their songs. Looking at, let's talk about Stoneboy's song Mind Lily. If you listen to Mind Lily, Stoneboy was actually talking about something, but you see the way he framed the whole thing is just like how A.B. Quinzel wrote his song Moses.
Okay.
They all brought controversies, you see. So I think Ghanaian music is far, and I love everything. The only problem I have with the new talent is them talking about their royalties. Trust me, royalties are not going to come from anywhere.
Okay,
because then way back they were selling CDs, and now you are playing shows.
I see. Eben has a lot. Thank you so much for the contribution. I wish you can go on and on. Frederick is on. Sorry, did we lose me over there?
I mean, in those days as well, created a lot of controversies to a consent.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not something that is new. There were a lot. Somebody, Uncle Ken says that there was a song, for instance, that he didn't even know until years after that.
You got to find out that
it was what's it called? It was profane, for instance. He says Ode Uzi Giza game.
Okay.
He had some twist to it. You know, so really there was nothing that happened in the past that one of our celebrated musicians was Daddy Luba.
I wish we could go on. For time. I really wish we could go on with this, but I think we can continue tomorrow, because it looks like a lot of people are having interest in this very conversation. We'll look at it. I'm sure the production will look at it, and then let's see. Yeah, and Sadiq will definitely come early for us to begin early today. First later, I've been forced to tell you people that Sadiq didn't come early, bro. It's been a good one over here. And trust me, tomorrow we're going to have to continue this conversation. And well, we'd like to say a big thank you to you for watching in your houses as well, and to the production team. God bless you guys for always holding our backs here. And God willing, we're back at 9 o'clock, 11 and 12. We'll continue this conversation. Trust me on that. My name is KMJ, and I was born to talk. See you tomorrow.